Qiao Yu and his fellow players found themselves in an unsettling environment, leading to a sense of unease among them. Despite efforts from the class monitor to reassure the students and promise protection, the location seemed foreboding, possibly even perilous. Taking charge, the class monitor directed the students to follow him, driven by a determination to assert his leadership and strength, particularly in comparison to Yu, who, preoccupied with the peculiarities of their new surroundings, paid little attention to the monitor. Adding to the mystery, there was a notable absence of system prompts since their arrival at the village. However, their attention was abruptly diverted by a voice from behind, expressing regret at their presence. Turning around, they were confronted by an aged figure with a distinctive purply hue and a lengthy beard, who lamented the youthfulness of the students and their unfortunate predicament. Curiosity piqued, the class monitor inquired if the old man was a non-player character, NPC, prompting Yu to question the significance of the old man's address to them. Suddenly adopting a serious demeanor, the old man welcomed the students to the Nightmare Village, an announcement accompanied by ominous weather phenomena. With the utterance of the village's name, a system prompt materialized, revealing their location to be the Nightmare Village, designated as a beginner training ground with a difficulty rating of S rank for beginners. This difficulty classification was distinct from standard worlds, with a beginner rank roughly equivalent to an E rank elsewhere. The students' objective was to survive their time in the Nightmare Village and uncover its secret. But the students were not even reading the prompt. They were shocked that they were at the place where they shouldn't have come. They knew that this place was the reason for the disappearance of 40 people, and no one has ever passed the trial before. One of them even started running towards the gate again, screaming that he wanted to go home and he didn't want to play anymore. The class monitor screamed at him, telling him not to worry as he will definitely lead everyone out of the Nightmare Village. Meanwhile, Qiao Yu was thinking that an E-level world needs the player to have at least the early stage level, but the problem was that they were all disciples. We come to know that levels in the other world are divided into disciple early stage, middle stage, and late stage. Disciples are of level 1 to 10, early stages are of level 11 to 20, and so on with the gap of 10 levels on each stage. But his thoughts were interrupted when he saw the student who was running at the gate. He bounced back onto the ground, not able to get out of the gate. Witnessing this, the other students were alarmed. Addressing them with a sense of disappointment, the old man informed them that once they entered the Nightmare Village, escape was impossible due to an invisible barrier. Realizing their predicament, panic ensued among the students, fearing their impending demise. One student even lamented his affluent upbringing, expressing a desire to enjoy life before facing death. Despite the class monitor's attempts to reassure them of his leadership and their eventual escape, his words fell on deaf ears. Meanwhile, Qiao Yu remained silent, contemplating the fate of the previous class who met their demise. Though he found the old man enigmatic, he did not perceive any malice in him. Attempting to alleviate their distress, the old man suggested that since they were already in the Nightmare Village, they should make themselves comfortable. This prompted a retort from the class monitor, questioning the old man's intentions and urging the students to face their situation with confidence. However, the old man, displaying anger with red eyes, clarified that he simply meant to convey acceptance of their fate. The revelation of the old man's identity as the village head, Woan Wu, brought a solemn silence among the students. He outlined 2 conditions for survival in the Nightmare Village: refraining from touching the black stones on the doors of the empty houses, and returning indoors before nightfall, sealing all windows and doors shut. When questioned about the necessity of remaining indoors after dark, Wanwu cryptically stated that they would understand once night fell, maintaining an air of suspense. After some time, the night approached. Everyone decided to listen to the village head and find a house to hide in. First, all the students decided that they would divide into 4 groups, with 11 students in each group. Once they finalized their group members, everyone entered an empty house and shut the doors and windows tight. The shield girl advised everyone that for their safety, they should rest on the 2nd floor for that night. After they arrived at the 2nd floor, Zhao approached Yu and requested protection in case of danger. She confidently flaunted her chest and stated that she was a healer, capable of providing significant HP. Witnessing this behavior, Zuo approached her, advising her not to be shameless as many students were watching. Zhao expressed her acceptance of her actions and asked not to interfere in others' business. The shield girl remarked that looking like a cow was not something to be proud of, but the healer retorted by taunting her, stating that anything is better than having nothing. The shield girl, angered by this response, retorted that the healer's proportions were due to her being fat. The argument continued until a boy leaning towards a window caught sight of his granny outside. She expressed how much she missed him and how cold and scary it was outside. She requested him to open the window and let her hug him. Touched by her words, the boy agreed to open the window, but it became evident that the granny was not real. As the boy opened the door, Yu intervened, trying to stop him, and revealed that she was not his granny. However, as soon as the old woman entered the building, her demeanor changed, and she lunged at the boy, knocking him to the floor. Her face transformed, her eyes turned red, and she revealed herself to be a dark creature. With a menacing smile and a mark on her left hand, she was identified as a normal monster, Nightmare, with level 3 status, HP of 50, strength of 25, defense of 5, agility of 25, and an enchantment talent. Yang, unable to believe that the Nightmare was just a normal monster, intervened, using sand binding to restrain her. He called for the boy to return quickly as he couldn't hold her for long. As the boy ran towards Yang, the Nightmare transformed into a dark creature, emitting red and black flames. Instead of eyes, it had black flames and a menacing smile. The shield girl blocked the Nightmare's attack by summoning a huge shield into the air, instructing Yang to go behind her and ordering Zhao to heal her. Zhao began casting healing spells, enveloping herself in a green aura as she tended to Zhao's wounds. Understanding the importance of teamwork in confronting the Nightmare, they prepared for the summoning of an undead creature. However, to everyone's astonishment, Yu charged towards the monster wielding his staff, ready to strike. Yang was taken aback by Yu's unfamiliarity with staff combat, and cautioned him about the danger of engaging the Nightmare up close. Despite the warning, Yu boldly swung his staff at the Nightmare's head, inflicting a staggering 50 damage and defeating the creature in a single blow. The sudden turn of events left everyone in disbelief, unable to comprehend how a Nightmare with 50 HP could be vanquished so swiftly. The team, taken aback by the unexpected combat skills of the Necromancer, observed as Qiao Yu efficiently defeated the horrifying Nightmare creature. As it fell, it morphed into a shimmering black stone marked with a symbol resembling those on the enigmatic door frames. Despite delivering the decisive strike, Yu was perplexed by the lack of experience points earned. Zhao, sensing their bewilderment, asked if anyone detected any anomalies, but Yu waved it off as mere overthinking. The next day, whispers of praise echoed through the halls, lauding Zuo and Qiao Yu for their bravery against the Nightmare. Students who witnessed the harrowing battle exchanged nervous glances, still shuddering at the memory. Overhearing their hushed conversations, the class monitor scoffed, inwardly criticizing Yu's unmanly reliance on Zuo as a shield. Driven by pride and a desire to impress, he materialized his sword, vowing to conquer the Nightmares in a single valiant strike. However, his grandstanding act fell flat when Yu and the others emerged. Yang, ever the optimist, showered the monitor with compliments, praising his dedication to training. Flustered by the unexpected attention, the monitor awkwardly dismissed his actions as mere practice, attempting to save face. In a desperate attempt to redeem himself, he offered Zuo a seemingly noble proposition: shelter at his home, where he assured he wouldn't force her to tank any damage. However, Zuo rejected his offer, stating that her role was to be a tank, and she couldn't fulfill the monitor's request. Frustrated, the shield girl admonished the monitor, stating that his thinking was flawed, and they should work together. She cited your example of collaboration with other students, which hurt the monitor's ego. Suddenly someone shouted to kill all the students. As everyone turned around, they saw various monsters coming out of their houses, led by the village head, who ordered them to capture any resisting students and tie them onto a pyre to burn away their sins. The class monitor intervened, asking the village head what was wrong. The village head explained that the commotion was due to the students breaking a rule by killing the Nightmare, which was a protector spirit of the Nightmare village. He cursed the students, declaring they should die 1,000 deaths for their sin of angering the protector spirits. The monitor of the class attempted to pacify everyone and inquired about any possible means to preserve the guardian spirit they inadvertently vanquished. The leader of the village concurred, suggesting that if the individual responsible for provoking the guardian spirits remained outside the dwelling after nightfall, it might suffice. The monitor found themselves torn, as the unknown quantity of roaming nightmares in the village rendered staying outdoors akin to a perilous venture. However, Yu stepped forward, admitting to the village leader that they were the one who dispatched the guardian spirit. Yu volunteered to await nightfall outside the residence. The monitor was astonished by this revelation, struggling to fathom why Yu would willingly court danger. Expressing regret on behalf of their peers to the village leader, the monitor was comforted by Yu, who elucidated that they sought to confirm something, and assured that their actions might facilitate their escape from the trapped realm. Convinced, the village leader bound Yu to a pyre, anticipating the arrival of nightfall. As night fell once again, the nightmares started growling and roaming around on the rooftops of the houses. One of the nightmares spotted Yu outside the house, tied to a pyre, and opened its 5 eyes, giving a menacing look at its potential prey. It ferociously pounced towards Yu with its huge claws on the front. As Yu sensed that the nightmare was finally going to attack him, he was planning to do something, but suddenly, a huge amount of sand materialized from the ground and clenched the nightmare deep inside of it. This attack was none other than the sand binding used by Yu's friend, Yang. As Yang stood there with his wand controlling the sand and trapping the nightmare, he asked the class monitor, Fei, to act quickly, as he could only control the nightmare for a few seconds. As Ma Fei jumped towards the nightmare, he consoled Yang, telling him that he would definitely take good care of all the students as a true swordsman. However, his confidence was shattered as soon as he attacked the nightmare. The creature freed itself from the sand binding and furiously sent an attack towards Ma Fei with its claws. The class monitor managed to parry the attack with his sword, but was struck by the realization that Yu, a mere mage, had swiftly dispatched the adversary. Unwilling to accept that Yu possessed abilities beyond his own, he readied his sword once more and delivered a powerful blow aimed at breaking the nightmare's defense. However, the strike proved futile, inflicting a mere 5 damage. Meanwhile, the healer and the shield girl approached Yu, still restrained on the pyre. Yu questioned their presence outside the safety of the house, to which they confessed their fear of leaving Yu alone in the night, and thus came out to offer assistance. Zhao informed Yu of the necessity for Ma Fei to use his sword to break the chains, but Ma Fei was preoccupied with battling the nightmare. Nonetheless, Yu reassured them that a sword was unnecessary for such a minor task. With a few deft movements of his hand, Yu effortlessly unraveled and shattered the chains, freeing himself from the bindings. The girls were astonished, questioning whether Yu truly was a necromancer or not. Following the transition, the class monitor continued to grapple with the nightmare in a sword duel. Zuo and Zhao offered assistance to Ma Fei, with Zhao preparing to provide healing support. However, Ma Fei refused their aid, asserting that true heroes are forged in battle, and scars serve as badges of honor. Recognizing the monitor's resolve, the girls refrained from healing him. Instead, Yang suggested that he target the nightmare's head, citing Yu's previous success in defeating it with a direct blow to the head using his staff. Though pleased by this revelation, the monitor lamented his failure to conceive of the idea himself. Despite Yu's warning that the nightmare's weakness might not lie in its head, the monitor dismissed it, attributing it to Yu's apprehension of being surpassed by Ma Fei. Confident in his next move, the monitor delivered a powerful strike to the nightmare and swiftly maneuvered to its other side, anticipating victory. However, to his dismay, the nightmare remained alive, with 35 HP remaining, while the monitor's own HP stood at a mere 15. Plunged into panic, he questioned Yang's assurance regarding the nightmare's weak point. Similarly perplexed, the shield girl wondered why the nightmare succumbed to Yu's attack, but not to the monitor's. Yang clarified that the discrepancy lay not in the creature, but in the combatant, bluntly asserting that the monitor was not as skilled as Yu. The class monitor's self-esteem took a huge hit when he heard that he was not as good as Yu. His friends were still calling out to him, telling him that he would definitely die if he took another hit from the nightmare. But we come to know about the depth of the class monitor's dumbness when the idiot decided to ignore everyone. Ma Fei stood with his sword again, wanting to do another defense-breaking strike as the nightmare pounced at him. He dodged the attack and slashed the creature, this time more ferociously than before. He was somehow able to give the creature 30 damage, and as the nightmare was finally down, the class monitor saw the creature and knew that one last strike would definitely kill the nightmare and prove to everyone that he was better than you. But suddenly, a magic staff came from nowhere and killed the nightmare by giving it 5 damage. Seeing this, the monitor was destroyed. He was not able to believe that his kill was stolen, and that too by none other than you himself. You complimented the class monitor, telling him that he indeed worked hard. But the class monitor was so annoyed because of you stealing his limelight that he screamed at everyone, telling them that he was the one who sold the nightmare. But the brat Yu stole his limelight. Yong was somehow controlling Ma Fei, telling him to stop his childish tantrum. On the other hand, Qiao Yu was holding the black stone dropped by the nightmare and was thinking that again, he didn't get any prompt or extra attribute points upon killing the creature. Suddenly, 2 more nightmares started running towards the students with the intention to attack them. Zhao warned everyone that another nightmare was coming towards them. Yang was confused and asked Yu about what they should do. Yu finally spoke to them, telling them to go and hide inside the house, as there was no need to fight the nightmares anymore, since Yu had already figured out what the students needed to do to pass. Before the nightmares arrived at the place, the students were already inside the house, and they shut the door tightly on the face of those deadly creatures. Zuo asked Yu about the way to pass the trial, but he maintained the suspense, telling them that all the students would know the truth tomorrow. As the time came, all they had to do was to listen to Yu when he said so. It was the next day, and the village head was furious from head to toe. He was angry with Yu that even after he gave him the chance to redeem himself, he betrayed the villagers and took out another protector spirit. The village head decided firmly that he cannot let any student destroy the nightmare village anymore, and told them that all of them must die. But Yu interrupted him and suddenly asked a very weird question to him. He asked the village head if all the villagers really belonged to the nightmare village originally. The village head was now more furious upon hearing this dumb question. He told Yu angrily that all of the villagers lived in the nightmare village for generations. Yu took a serious tone and told them that every single one of the village people were not the original inhabitants of the nightmare village. He revealed that all 40 of the villagers were the part of the class that was wiped out in the nightmare village previously. He told all the villagers that since they were all trapped in the fantasy realm ever since they entered, they had no way of leaving the other world they were in. The villagers were bewildered by this revelation. The village head, incredulous, chuckled and accused Yu of fabricating tales out of fear for his impending demise. However, Yu reassured them that his assertions were grounded in solid evidence. From his back pocket, Yu produced a black stone identical to those adorning the doors of nightmare village houses. Upon seeing the stone, the village head rushed toward Yu, proclaiming that they deserved 10,000 deaths for disturbing the protector stone. Yet, it wasn't just Yu who had removed the stone. All 4 of his companions had also produced black stones from their pockets. This revelation left the village head stunned as he explained to the students the significance of the protector stones as high-level sacred objects safeguarding them from nocturnal attacks, warning of divine retribution for any tampering. However, Yu interjected, asserting that there had never been any protector stone in the village to begin with. The entirety of the fantasy realm within the nightmare village consisted of the black stones adorned with mysterious symbols. According to Yu's understanding, shattering these black stones would unravel the fantasy and liberate all those ensnared within. Signaling to his 4 companions, Yu urged them to destroy their black stones, prompting them to hurl the stones to the ground, breaking them into fragments. As the stones fragmented, cracks emerged in the sky above the villagers' heads. With the widening of these cracks, each villager began to recollect their past. They were revealed to be former students of the same school, aspiring to gain entry into prestigious universities upon completing their beginner trial. However, upon entering the nightmare village, they were besieged by monsters, and an inexplicable transformation befell them, turning them into residents of the nightmare village, with the individual tasked with their protection ultimately assuming the role of their village head. As the scene shifts, the white-haired guy finally remembered that he was the class monitor of his class and tried to protect his classmates from the calamity, but it was too late for him to do so, and he was also turned into a villager with the other students. A notification popped up, telling the students that a player has found the secret at the core of the Nightmare Village and successfully awakened its villagers. The mission was a success, and rewards to be given to the students would be calculated based on everyone's individual ratings. Everyone was happy that they finally passed the test and started teleporting back to their worlds. Young Ma Fei, Zuo, and Zhao were happy that Yu was finally able to crack the code and helped everyone in getting out of the village. Even Ma Fei complimented Yu, telling him that he was a little smart for once. Yong asked Yu about how he figured out the way to pass the trial, but Yu told him and everyone to hold their thoughts because they would talk about it once they get back to their world. Anyway, as time passed and every other student was transported back to their worlds, the 5 friends were still present there in the Nightmare Village. Zhao asked everyone if they didn't pass, but suddenly a notification popped up congratulating the 5 players who destroyed the Black Nightmare's stone. A new mission was given to them, telling them to retrieve the Heart of Nightmares, but this mission difficulty was ranked as ranked. How would the players, who were mere disciples, be able to complete an E-ranked mission? Upon the arrival of the remaining students at the 4th campus, they informed the principal that all had successfully completed the test, except for Yu and his 4 companions who had yet to return from the Nightmare Village. The principal speculated that they might have triggered a concealed mission, and if they managed to fulfill it, they would have the opportunity to select from any university in the country. However, the task ahead was not as straightforward as it seemed. A hidden mission was usually extremely dangerous, and the place from where the mission was activated was already responsible for the disappearance of 40 students earlier. The principal was worried for his students, pondering if they would be strong enough to complete the hidden mission. As the scene shifts, we see the group of 5 students were standing together. One of them, Zhu, mentioned that she was only at level 3 and the others were probably at the same level. Young warned everyone that attempting the secret mission with their current strength would be very dangerous. Another student, Zhao, asked if it was possible to rescue the villagers without triggering the secret mission. Yu, feeling nervous, avoided answering. Suddenly, Yang interrupted, saying that finding a secret mission was something that happened unexpectedly, not something they should actively seek. He believed that Yu already knew how to activate the mission by breaking the black stones and hinted that they should do it together. Yu was surprised to find the conversation was in his favor. The class monitor also thought that it was indeed very surprising for Yu to be willing to share this kind of opportunity. He was determined to complete the hidden mission before Yu. But suddenly, large claws came into the vision of those students, and multiple nightmares started running towards them to attack, growling loudly with a killing intent. The creatures were now speaking human language and were telling the students that they must all die. Yong was surprised to see that 4 deadly creatures were coming towards them at once. Zhao prepared her shield and instructed her companion, also named Zhao, to get ready to heal. She then asked Yong to immobilize the enemies with sand binding and requested Ma Fei to attack. Ma Fei struck the nightmare with his sword, using a move to break through its defense. However, he was surprised to find that his attack only caused 10 points of damage, whereas Qiao Yu could defeat the creatures in one shot. Urged by Zhao and Zhao, Ma Fei hurried, as their mana was running low, risking the girls' lives if the nightmare wasn't dealt with soon. Suddenly, Yu descended from the sky and attacked the nightmare with his staff. This time, something new happened. A notification appeared, rewarding Yu with extra attribute points for defeating the nightmare with a melee attack. This confirmed to Yu that they were no longer in an illusion. He was really defeating the nightmares and receiving notifications for it. Yu continued to defeat the nightmares, earning extra points and experience. He also found a yellow sphere on the ground, realizing that the hidden mission indeed offered valuable rewards to players. It turned out to be a fairy's necklace, an F-rank equipment that boosts skill damage by 5%, specifically for mages. This discovery brought joy to Yu as he realized the benefits of completing the hidden mission. As Qiao Yu had 0 spirit points, he knew that he would not be able to take full advantage of the equipment and decided that he would give it to Yu instead. Everyone was happy that they worked together and defeated the nightmares. Yu asked them to keep going and to find all nightmares to kill. He just needed to kill one more nightmare and he would be able to level up to level 6. Plus, the hidden realm was giving him a very high chance of having rare equipment which can be used by him later. He was happy as he knew this fact, and started jumping around and walking happily. Yang was confused and told Yu that the hidden mission was something along the lines of getting the Heart of Nightmares. But Yu told him that the Heart of Nightmares must be inside a nightmare, so they wouldn't go wrong if they just killed all the nightmares they found on the way. But as Yu was not noticing where he was walking, he put his step onto a trap set on the roadside. As soon as he did this, the ground started cracking, and a huge hole appeared below them. As they fell deep inside, they were surprised by knowing that there was something even below the nightmare village. As Yu landed, he was not able to understand why the floor was so soft and squishy, but then Yang called him out, telling him to get off his back. Everyone stood up, balancing themselves, and were happy to know that they were all fine and didn't get any injuries. But all of them saw that they were surrounded by malice of somewhat red color. Yang noticed and told them that there was a very strong smell like a sewer in the place they had fallen into. The shield girl guessed that because the place they were in was closed off from the outside world, it didn't get any air, and the dead bodies of small animals must have been left to rot in that place for a long time. But Zhao interrupted everyone by telling them that it was not the smell of a dead body, but instead, someone was breathing in the chamber. Everyone turned around to see what Zhao was looking at, and were deeply shocked by the scene they saw. A huge monster sleeping onto an altar-like space. Its eyes were closed, and it was full of malice. Red and black flames were coming out from all over its body. A notification popped up, telling everyone that he was the rare boss, the Nightmare King, who was in a sleeping state. He was a level 10 boss with an HP of $1,000 and a strength of 65. His defense was quite weak, with only 20 points, but he was very agile, scoring 60 in that regard. His abilities included compulsion and controlling nightmares. The system also warned players that awakening the Nightmare King would lead to its aggressive pursuit. Yu recognized that the Nightmare boss resembled the Skeleton King but was significantly stronger. Yang realized that the essence of the nightmare resided in the Nightmare King's heart, yet Zhao and Ma Fei hesitated to confront the boss, suggesting others find a way to exit the hidden mission. Even the highly skilled Ma Fei sided with Zhao, advising against facing the Nightmare King at this point. However, Yu interjected, believing there was a chance to defeat the creature. He calculated that with his current strength of 101 points and the boost from the Ring of the Skeleton King, his attack power would reach 202 with a 50% damage increase for his initial strike. All that remained was to identify the Nightmare King's vulnerabilities and strike it 3 or 4 times to potentially defeat it. But he knew that if he messed up, every single one of them would die. Yang approached Yu with a concerned face and put his hand onto Yu's head, asking him if he had a fever. Annoyed by this, Yu told him that he was all right and the Nightmare King's stats were high, but its defense was too low. If they used their strengths against its weaknesses, they might have a % chance of winning. Zuo interrupted him, asking if he wanted the other students to draw the Nightmare King's attention. Yu agreed with Zhao's idea and assured them that if they helped him get an opportunity to attack the creature, he was confident he could defeat the Nightmare King. He was aware of the risks involved, especially considering the Nightmare King's superior agility compared to all of them, including himself. Failing to dodge the creature's attacks could result in certain death. However, Yu was reassured by his friend's support. They trusted him and were willing to go along with his plan to defeat the Nightmare King. Even Ma Fei, typically lost in his own world, expressed concern, advising Yu not to attempt heroics beyond his capabilities. But Yu calmed him with a confident gaze that silently conveyed, "Trust me, buddy." Once they had all rested and fully restored their mana, Yu leaped at the Nightmare King, searching for its weak spot. The first strike was crucial, utilizing the Skeleton King's 50% attack boost. Yu saw an opportunity to deal a lot of damage to the Nightmare King and weaken it. He noticed something inside the creature that looked like its weak spot. With determination, he struck the glowing orb with his staff, using the power of the Ring of the Skeleton King. This attack turned out to be very effective, causing 8 damage to the Nightmare King. Everyone was amazed by Yu's strength, finding it hard to believe that a mage could do so much damage. Then, a notification appeared, informing Yu that he had destroyed the Nightmare King's heart, changing the mission. As a result of Yu's attack, the Nightmare King woke up, furious and ready to fight. Another notification informed the group that the mission had been successfully updated and now their task was to defeat the Nightmare King. But the difficulty of that mission was a whopping A rank. As the Nightmare King growled furiously at them, Yu jumped out of the creature's body to protect himself. He warned everyone to get ready and act according to the plan. The Nightmare King was not at all happy with the intruders. He started making a hissing sound and told them that the presence of vile humans was not allowed in his domain. Yu and his friends were ready to face off with the Nightmare King as the creature arose from its deep slumber, disturbed by the students. They were like mere ants in front of the huge manifestation of what looked like the Nightmare King's body. It also had the same mark that the other nightmares had on their left hand, but it was huge and was present in the middle of its chest, signifying his dominance over the other creatures. Yu screamed at Ma Fei to attack the creature and distract him. As soon as he heard Yu's order, Ma Fei jumped at the Nightmare King with his sword. He struck the Nightmare King with all his might, hoping to weaken its defenses, but was dismayed to see that he only caused 1 damage. Surprised by Yu's ability to deal 58 damage with a single hit, he couldn't comprehend it. However, being the class monitor, he was determined not to give up. He resolved to keep attacking the Nightmare King, even if it meant slowly chipping away at its health. With relentless determination, he continued to strike the boss, dealing 1 or 2 damage with each hit. This annoyed the boss, who threatened to grant his wish for a quick death. Undeterred, the class monitor bravely faced the monster, reminding it of his past achievements and fearless attitude. As the Nightmare King prepared to attack, he signaled to his classmates, Yang and Zhao, for support. They quickly responded, using their abilities to shield and restrain the Nightmare King. However, their efforts were short-lived, as the boss easily broke through the shield and escaped the sand binding. Ma Fei was completely shocked when he saw what was happening. Even though the Nightmare King's attack was weaker and Zhao was healing the class monitor, they were still struggling against the boss. Ma Fei yelled at Yu, saying he couldn't hold on much longer. Hearing this, Yu rushed towards the Nightmare King. As the scary creature turned around, Yu aimed for its hips, dealing a whopping 182 damage. Suddenly a warning appeared, saying that since the Nightmare King's HP was low, it would activate the Realm of Nightmares. This made Yu very nervous. The Nightmare King started screaming loudly, and black evil energy started spreading all around, hurting everyone in the area. Despite their efforts, Yu's friends couldn't do anything to stop the damage caused by the Nightmare King's attack. Yu understood that he couldn't allow the Nightmare King to use that attack again, as he was certain that others would turn into villagers if hit by the same attack. Yu screamed at the Nightmare King, demanding that it stop the spell. He slammed his staff onto the Nightmare King's hips again, dealing 182 damage. With only 128 points of HP left, Yu knew he could kill the boss with just 1 more hit, thanks to his overpowered strength. He jumped into the air with the staff in his hand, ready to deliver the final blow to the Nightmare King. However, Zhao and Zuo warned him mid-air that they had no mana to protect Yu at that moment. Yu reassured them, saying there was no need to worry because he would finish the fight with this strike. He descended onto the Nightmare King's body, slamming his staff onto the creature's head and hips, dealing 128 damage and finishing it off. That's it for the video. See you in the next part.